From $2 a month to $12,000 a month, this is how I turned my hobby into a six-figure business in just a year and a half. Hey there, welcome or welcome back. This is Shruti. On this channel, I help creators and entrepreneurs grow their audience and income online. So quick disclaimer, I'm not really making this video to flex or whatever, but instead to show you what's really possible if you stay consistent with your side hustle or even your hobby that you hope to monetize in the future. In this video, I want to share with you the tips that I felt were personally most useful in helping me get to this stage, and my hope is that you can use these tips and apply it to your situation as well. So the first tip that I want to share with you when it comes to monetizing your blog is to stop making it about you. Now, I know that we are pretty me-centric in our lives, and it's always me, and what do I get out of something? But that's also how the readers and the potential visitors of your blog think about. So when you are creating a blog, specifically when your aim is to monetize that blog, the number one thing that you want to be thinking about is how can I make this blog about them instead of making it about you? And this is always going to reflect in the content you create for your blog. So for example, you start creating blog posts about what you ate for breakfast or what is the movie that you saw this week. Chances are nobody is really going to care about that unless you already have some kind of existing audience that you built on a different platform. So if you are already an influencer and then you start a blog and you have an existing audience that you can leverage, by all means go ahead and share lifestyle content. However, if you're just starting out, you will benefit a lot more if you have a specific focus and a specific niche that you can serve with your audience. When I talk about a niche, what I really mean is the industry or the group of people that you are helping with your blog. So there are two questions that you need to be asking yourself when you either start a blog or you're struggling to grow your blog, and specifically, you're not really making any money from that blog. You want to be asking yourself, one, who am I serving with this blog? So who is my target audience? Is it college-going students who want to pay off debt? Is it young millennial moms? Is it retired people in a certain city? Who is the primary audience that you are going to serve? Because if you try to serve everyone with your blog, you're going to end up serving no one, and that is going to result in no one reading your blog. You're not really going to be able to monetize it further down the line. The second question to ask yourself once you have figured out who exactly is your target audience is how are you serving them? So what is the type of content or what is the type of blog post that you can create that is going to help your target audience? So let's say you start a blog for college-going students and you want to help them with their productivity issues. This means you are then going to think about what are the main challenges that college students face. How can I create content to help them address those challenges? And usually when you're planning your content out, you're going to think of 2 or 3 major categories in which your blog can be worked at. Now, when you do this exercise, you automatically take away the focus from this me dialogue that a lot of bloggers have going on, and you start focusing on them or the people who are going to benefit from reading your blog. Keep in mind, if you want your blog to be a business, it has to be about the potential readers and customers of your blog. It can't really be about what you do in a day. Now, this doesn't mean that you will never be able to share your own personal content or lifestyle content, and this doesn't mean that you shouldn't start a lifestyle blog. You can definitely start a lifestyle blog as well, but you still got to be thinking about who you're creating that blog for and what value they're going to be getting from your blog. There are millions and millions of blogs out there, so why should anyone be stopping to read your blog versus someone else's blog? Keep in mind, once you grow your audience and people get to know you and you become an authority or you become credible in your particular industry, there is going to be a lot of scope for you to expand into personal and lifestyle content and talk about things you did in the day or your morning routine and all of that. But if you get started with that and there is no specific demand for that particular topic, it is going to be harder for you to grow in the long run. So I would always recommend, when thinking about creating a blog that can potentially become a business, to start with a small niche or a small group of people that you can focus on in the beginning. And then as you grow, you can expand into different niches and test out different content ideas. And as you expand, you can then grow into further categories and further content ideas that will also benefit your audience. But do keep in mind, when you're starting out, no one cares about you. You gotta start making it about them and start focusing on the value you can provide to your target audience instead of just focusing about what you feel like writing today. The next tip that I want to share with you, which so many people get wrong, and that is a blog is just a marketing tool. Now, many people specifically who don't know anything about blogging tend to think that just by starting a blog, they're going to start getting a check in their mail every single month and it's going to be amazing. Now, that's not exactly how things work when it comes to monetizing a blog. A blog in and of itself does not equal a business. A business model behind the blog is what equals a business. Now, I dive a lot deeper into this in my course CEO Blogger Academy, and if you're interested in learning more about exactly how the business behind a blog works, you can sign up for the waitlist. The link is going to be in the description box below. Now think about your blog like a store. So just like a store in and of itself without anything inside is not really a business, the same way a blog in and of itself without any kind of things that it's selling is not a business either. Now, as a blogger, there are various ways that you can be making money. You can be making money through ads, which is basically when you sell the inventory, which is your content, as a specific space that can be leased out to third-party platforms or even other brands and companies that want to promote on your space. Now, it is no different from a billboard or a radio ad. It is just going to be something that is going to be placed on your particular website. Alternatively, you can also monetize using affiliates, which is when you promote somebody else's product and you get a promotion on it. And then there are other types of ways to make money with your blog as well. So you could have sponsors who, let's say, give you a product and they give you, let's say, $100 to talk about this product in one of your blog posts. And of course, I'm just using this as an example. Don't quote me on this particular number. And then there are other ways to make money with your blog as well, including selling your own services. So if you are, for example, a coach or a consultant, you can use your blog to channel in leads and then sell your own one-on-one calls or maybe even your consulting services. And then of course you can also make money through products. So you can sell physical products. For example, if you have a passion in creating, let's say, handmade paintings, maybe you can sell that through your website or through your blog as well. And of course you can also be doing this with digital products as well. The idea here is that your blog is nothing more than a marketing tool, and it is simply the facade of your business. So a blog needs to be considered as a marketing tool when you're thinking about setting it up for monetization. You shouldn't just think that because I'm creating this blog post, somebody is going to come and pay me for it, because that would be like me writing in my diary and expecting a check in the mail every single month just for doing that effort. So when you start approaching your blog as a marketing tool instead of just thinking of your blog to be the entire business, that is when you really start to see growth in your income, as well as understanding how a blog functions as a business. So when we talk about marketing tools, social media is also a marketing tool. So for example, if you have an audience over at a certain blog and you have a popular Instagram account or a YouTube channel, you can cross promote your content across these channels as well. So look at what I do. For example, I am creating this YouTube video right now, and then I'm also going to publish it as a blog post on my blog so I can promote it to my readers there. Then I'm also going to share it to my Pinterest audience so my audience there can learn from it, and I'm also going to share it on my Instagram and maybe other places where it makes sense for me to promote this type of content. Now, of course, I have been doing this for a while, and I don't recommend that you branch out into so many different places right at the start, but understanding that your blog is a way for you to market your own knowledge, your own products and services is the key to being able to make money from it further down the line. The next tip that I have for you is that zero traffic equals zero income. Now, when I say traffic, what I really mean is the size of your audience or the people who are visiting or reading your blog at any given point of time. Now, you can compare this to any other business as well. So if we talk about, let's say, a car dealership, if there are no customers walking in, chances are that dealership is probably not making a lot of money unless they have an online store where they also have some kind of traffic or footfall in that store. Same thing goes for your blog as well. If you don't figure out a way to generate traffic or eyeballs on your content, it is going to be really hard for you to convert your blog into a business. Now, when we talk about traffic, there are two main types of traffic that you can get on your blog. The number one type of traffic is your organic traffic, which comes from your organic efforts. This means that you're not spending money to get that traffic. So this could be people finding you on Google, people finding you on YouTube, and then going over to your blog, people finding you on Pinterest, and so on and so forth. Even traffic that you get organically from social media technically is traffic that you got without any paid efforts. And the second type of traffic that you can also get to your blog is paid traffic. This is when you pay for ads on a particular platform to boost the number of people that see your content. So for example, if you have a blog post which is promoting, let's say, a lot of affiliate links, and you think that this might be an interesting one to boost, then yes, you can also use ads on Facebook or on Instagram or even on Google to see if you get more conversions and more sales using that particular ad. Now, the model that really works behind this is that you create a piece of content or a blog post. That blog post then drives you traffic, And then based on the traffic, you monetize that particular audience and you make money. So content leads to traffic, which leads to income. And if any of these three equations are not working well in your blog, you're going to have a hard time making a serious amount of money in that blog. So let's talk about what you need in order to actually generate traffic to your blog. Now, we talked about the content aspect, but there is one more aspect that matters a lot when it comes to driving traffic or eyeballs to your content, and that is the platform that you use to generate traffic. Now, of course, most people think that they're just going to rely on Google and Google is going to send them thousands and thousands of visitors. But once you start blogging and you discover how difficult it is to rank on Google, specifically as a new blogger in your first year, people start to look for other sources. And one of these sources just happens to be a thing that I love, which is called Pinterest. Pinterest is a visual search engine, and I have a ton of videos on this channel, so feel free to browse through them when you're done watching this video. But long story short, Pinterest is one of the biggest reasons why I've been able to monetize my blog so rapidly, get a large audience. Even until this date, the largest chunk of my traffic comes from Pinterest, which is completely organic. This means that I'm not paying for that traffic to come to my blog, and I get thousands of visitors and leads on autopilot coming in from Pinterest every single month. Now, if this is a topic that interests you, I have a free training on how to grow your traffic from Pinterest, which is also linked in the description box below. So feel free to check that out after you're done watching this video. But what happens if Pinterest is something you're not interested in? Well, that leaves you with another tool, which is YouTube, which is the tool you're on right now. So even though YouTube also sends me traffic over to my blog, it is not the biggest contributor of traffic for my blog. And that again depends on your audience as well. So maybe you have an audience which is, let's say, interested in tech reviews or in a specific thing that, let's say, is more favorable for a YouTube channel versus a Pinterest or a blog. And in that sense, you have to understand what is the best way for you to combine your talents as well as reach out to your audience by using a second platform that is going to help generate more traffic to your particular blog. Now, of course, as you grow and maybe you hire a team, you'll be able to invest in more and more platforms which can drive you traffic. But in the beginning, I really recommend just sticking to one. So if you're someone who really is short on time and wants to work smart instead of working hard, I would recommend working on Pinterest, because you don't need to specifically spend a lot of time to get a lot of traffic. You just need the right strategy in place, and that can bring you traffic consistently every single day. However, when it comes to starting a new channel on YouTube, it's a lot of upfront work to actually convert your blog posts into videos, sit down, record everything, edit everything, and do all of that. But in the long run, it can also be a source of income for you. So feel free to add that to your strategy later down the line when you feel like you have the time to be doing both. The next tip is something that I feel is one of the biggest reasons why bloggers fail, and that is to stick to a consistent content strategy. Now, this is going to be even more important in your first 1 to 2 years than it is going to be later down the line. Once you have built in an authority in your particular space and people actually know what you're all about and they already know your blog, you can then reduce the amount of content you create, and you can also be strategic about it by outsourcing some of the content. However, when you're just starting out, it is so important to have some kind of content calendar in place. Now, again, this will totally depend on how much time you have to sit down and write content and then promote it. However, I would recommend that you post a minimum of once per week, and if possible, 2 to 3 times a week. The reason why I recommend a higher number specifically in the beginning is because the faster you create content, the faster you'll be able to improve the quality of that content, get feedback from your audience, as well as grow your blog as well. Now, when you're starting out, it is going to take you longer to create the same piece of blog post, and you'll realize over time you get quicker at it. You'll have a process that you follow, and it's just going to be that much quicker as well. But the important thing to keep in mind is not how quickly you can create it, but to have a set schedule where you say, okay, I'm going to post twice a week or thrice a week and stick to that. So for example, for me, I try to stick to a regular schedule on YouTube where I post one video a week. And the same thing goes for my blog as well, where I try to create at least one blog post a week so that my readers always have something new when they come back and they are checking out my content. Had I not been consistent with my content strategy for the last year and a half, it would have been really hard for me to grow my email list with thousands of people that I have now, or even to grow my business to the point where I have. So if you were to ask me what is the most important thing that you can be doing specifically to grow your blog in the beginning stages so that you're able to turn it into a business later, that is to have a particular strategy when it comes to creating your content and sticking to it as much as you can. The next tip that I have for you is to stop sweating the small stuff. Now, by the small stuff, I mean thinking about things like branding, colors, logos, fonts, and all of that. And while I understand the importance of branding, it is also something that you don't need to spend too much time thinking about, specifically at the beginning stages of your blog. Now, I know a lot of bloggers who get stuck at this stage for a very long time. They get overwhelmed by how many decisions that need to be made considering their website, their theme, their colors, and all of that. But here's the thing, it is your blog at the end of the day, and you can change it as many times as you want. So my recommendation would be to stop spending time on things that are not really going to make a large amount of difference in your career as a blogger. Now think about it this way. Have you ever stopped following someone just because you hated the font that they were using? Sure, it might have happened once or twice, but it is not something that happens often. If you feel that somebody's content is resonating with you in terms of what you have to gain from their content, you will always come back to that blog or that person's page and check it out. When you focus on providing value to your readers and on growing your audience, that is the solid foundation that you need in the long run to actually monetize your blog. Now, when it comes to starting out with tools, I know it can get very overwhelming as to what to use and all of that. I have a list of tools that I've compiled, and you can find the link for that in the description box below, or you can simply go to my website, digitalempires.co/tools, and you'll find a list of all the tools and discounts and all of that that I recommend specifically to start a blog. Keep in mind, as you grow and money starts coming in, you can always hire an agency or an independent designer to redo your website, give you all the branding information that you need, or even a coach to help you figure that out. But at the beginning, in the first 6 to 12 months, you don't need to be spending a lot of time sweating the small stuff and wondering about all these different small things that are really not going to make or break your blog's future. So I would rather you spend your time working on the content that you want to create, specifically the value that you want to provide with your content, and on ways to grow your audience and your traffic so that you can monetize that audience and traffic in the future. The next tip that I want to share with you, which is also something so important that so many people get wrong, is that subscribers matter more than followers. Now, I know it can get really tempting to equal your success based on how many followers you have on social media and so on and so forth. But as a blogger whose plan is to make money in the long run, the number one metric that you should care about and track is the subscribers that you have. Now, of course, you'll also be tracking the traffic that you get, but traffic in and of itself does not equal to income. However, when I'm talking about subscribers, I'm talking about specifically email list subscribers, which is the audience that is so interested in hearing from you that they've actually given you their email address to stay in touch. When you think about what is more important to you, you need to think about, is vanity more important or is profitability more important? Is pleasing your ego more important or living your dream more important in the long run? And when you think about this that way, you will stop obsessing about followers, because if you just compare your success to the number of followers you have, or if that is the main metric you focus on, you will give up the minute that stops happening. And that is why I don't want you to focus on it, because when you obsess on the number of followers you have, you don't necessarily track a real metric that you need to grow your business, which is your email list subscribers. So why is your email list so important? Now, your email list is a set of people who have not only engaged with your content, but they have given you permission to market to them. And that in today's world is worth its weight in gold. Think about it this way. We have so many places that we get bombarded with content. We have social media platforms, we have blogs, we have YouTube channels, all of these different places that you can reach out and lose a potential reader or a customer. However, we still consider our email address to be something more private. Just like you wouldn't be comfortable if someone else was snooping through your email, the same way you wouldn't just give out your email address to any random blogger out there. Obviously, you hope to get value from that particular blog or the blogger, and that's why you have subscribed to their email list. And the reason why this is so important, even if it does not seem like a big deal right now, is because of the fact that you're able to market to this particular list. Not only can you send your future blog posts, by which you can also get more traffic to your blog posts, you can also send affiliate links, you can talk about collaborations, you can pitch your email list also to sponsors so that you will have more eyeballs when it comes to sponsored content. And not only this, you can also sell your own products and services in the future as and when you develop them. Your email list is going to be the most profitable asset that you can own in the long run in your business. So make sure you set that up right from the beginning. Now, in order to get someone's email address, you have to give them something in exchange, which is also known as a freebie or an opt-in. Gone are the days when you could just dang around a newsletter and somebody would sign up, because literally there are millions of blogs and we don't have the attention span to go through millions of different newsletters. So you have to think of something valuable that your audience is going to love, and they're going to love it enough in order to give their email address to you. Now, this can be a checklist, it can be an ebook, it can be a PDF, it can simply be even a list of recommendations or even an email course that you pitch to your particular audience. The key thing here, it has to be something of value and it has to give a quick win to your audience. So don't try to send a 100-page ebook, which we all know nobody's going to read. Try to make make sure that you come up with a freebie idea or a topic that you can deliver in a short amount of time and is going to add a lot of value to your target audience. Now, there are 3 ways to come up with ideas for freebies. The first and most obvious way is, what is a question that your audience likes to ask you a lot? If it is not your audience, what is something that friends and family are constantly asking you about? The second way is to check into data. So if you already have been blogging for a while, you will be able to look into what are the blog posts which are most popular and what could be a complimentary freebie that would go with those blog posts that you could offer on your blog. And a third way to come up with a freebie idea is to think of what is something that would be the logical next step for a particular blog post. So let's say you have a blog post about 5 ways to get more productive in the morning. Maybe a logical next step for you would be to offer a routine checklist for the evening, which can be then offered not only as a freebie for that particular blog post, but can also act as a general freebie for your whole blog. Now again, you always have to test it out whether or not this works for your audience. So you can use a free tool such as ConvertKit to get started and create a landing page and see if you're able to grow your email list with that particular freebie. Obviously, the number of email subscribers you have is also going to depend on how many people actually check out your blog and how much traffic you have. So this is something that you can only do once you have started to create content and you have a little bit of traffic coming in, so that you can then showcase your freebie to that particular audience and see whether or not they join your email list. Even though it might be annoying and somewhat technically challenging to set up all of these different bits when it comes to creating a freebie and delivering it to your audience, think about it this way. You have a direct list of potential clients and customers that you're going to have for as long as they do not unsubscribe from your email list. So make sure you start building this from day one itself. Now, I dive a lot deeper into email marketing and funnels and how to set them up inside my course CEO Blogger Academy. So make sure to add yourself to the waitlist if that is something that interests you. Next tip that I have for you is to create and sell your own products. Now, this really comes from the old debate about trading your hours for money. And I am someone who is a huge fan of building up an income stream that can be leveraged years down the line and that doesn't require your constant input. Now, there are many ways why I feel that creating and selling your own product is one of the best ways to monetize your blog. But what I mean when I say a product is specifically a digital product, which can be an ebook, an e-course, it can be online coaching, it can be all of these different things that you can leverage technology to deliver and scale infinitely. Now, one of the best things about creating and selling your own product is that you get to keep 100% of the profit margin. You don't have to share it with any kind of partners unless you plan to promote with them, which is usually the case for affiliate products. Not only this, income that you create from your own products can eventually turn passive, which means that you put in a lot of effort in the beginning and then you continue to make an income from that product over and over again for the next couple of years, as long as you continue to invest in maintenance and updates. So for example, I sell an online course and I also have templates, and usually once every 6 months is when I go in and make all the major updates, or as and when things change in the digital marketing world. Now, depending on the niche that you're in, maybe things don't have to change that often. For example, if you are in a lifestyle niche, maybe there's a certain technique that you use that your blog readers are a fan of, which you can convert and sell into a product. Another reason why I feel building your own product suite is essential to growing your blog as a business is because you have a lot more control over how much money you make, where it comes from, and how often you make it. When you rely solely on brand deals and sponsors, or even on affiliate links, especially at the beginning when you don't have a large audience, you can't really rely on these income sources because you don't have a lot of numbers to show these sponsors so that you can make a large enough sponsorship income from it. And this is why I recommend thinking about creating and selling your own product, even if you have no ideas at the moment and no audience at the moment. Just keeping that at the back of your mind and creating content and building your email list, having that thought at the back of the mind, so that when you're ready to launch that product in the future, you already have an audience that is built in, that cares about the niche that you're in and is willing to buy your product. When it comes to my business, about 80% of my income comes from my own products, which includes courses and templates, and then 20% of it comes from things like advertising and affiliate marketing. I'm someone who is not a huge fan of sponsorship, and I rarely, if ever, work with sponsors unless I feel that they're going to be a great fit for my audience, and that is because I would much rather spend the time and energy on creating content and creating products that are going to serve my business in the long run, instead of focusing on the short run and just doing one-off deals here and there. Now, this is not to knock off people who love working with sponsors and doing brand deals. I think it's a great way to supplement your income. I just don't think it's a smart thing to rely 100% on income that does not depend on you and that is outside of your control, and some other party has to be involved in order for you to get it. When it comes to what type of product you can sell, again, this is going to come with time. When you have created a little bit of content, you have built some sort of credibility in your niche, and you have an audience that is actually asking you questions. It's not just enough to create any random product and benefit from it. You need to be creating a product that is providing some kind of value or solution to your audience, but also is something that they actually need and are willing to pay for. Your audience might have a lot of issues, but that doesn't mean that they're willing to pay for each of these issues. So you have to identify exactly which of the problem of your audience you can solve. Maybe it's a problem that you solved for yourself in the past, and you can use that knowledge to convert that into a product and then leverage that as a passive income strategy for your blog-based business. And now you might be thinking, I don't think anybody's going to buy from me. There's so much competition in my niche. Or you might be thinking, who is even going to be interested in this particular topic? You'd be surprised at some of the strangest topics that I've found people have created products in. Do you know that there are products being sold on how to naturally grow your hair, how to raise chickens in your backyard? And there are really crazy ideas out there that people are interested in doing. So the key here is understanding and figuring out what your audience wants from you and providing it in a way that no one else does. Take me, for example. My Pinterest course is not the first Pinterest course that has ever been created in the market. However, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I've set up this course not just to give theoretical concepts out there, but to actually show the practical step-by-step of how to leverage Pinterest marketing to grow your brand and business in a way that actually saves you time. I don't recommend practices where you should be sitting on your computer and manually pinning 147 times a day like many other courses out there do. And I simply don't think that that is the smartest way to go, specifically when it comes to building a business in the long run. Your time is going to be your most valuable asset, so you always want to be thinking about that, especially when it comes to monetizing your blog. And one of the best ways to leverage your time that you have now is to come up with your own product idea, market it and sell it, and create an income stream that is infinitely scalable. The next tip that I want to share with you is one that is going to be really critical for you to succeed in the long run, and that is to develop a business mindset. Now, when I say develop a business mindset, there's specifically 3 things that I'm talking about when it comes to viewing your blog as a business. The first key thing that you need to be doing as a business owner is tracking your data. This means that even if you have no views right now, you haven't really started blogging seriously, you still should be tracking how many people are coming to your blog every month, how many posts are you creating, how much income you've generated, or how many platforms you joined, and so on and so forth. Tracking your data is going to be the key for you growing in the long run and understanding really which direction to take your blog. The second key element to developing a business mindset is to think long term. This means you always have to make decisions that are going to favor a little bit more the long term instead of the short term. Now, obviously, if you're short on cash and you get a good opportunity to, let's say, make a sponsorship, but you know that they're not really paying you enough, or they're trying to extract one too many things out of you, you might accept that, but that's not really going to benefit you in the long run when you actually want to develop your brand in a way that it stands for authenticity and credibility. So when you're making decisions, specifically when it comes to which direction your blog should grow in or which monetization streams to focus on, always think what is going to serve me better in the long run instead of just making decisions based on the short run, because those decisions are not necessarily what are best for you in the long run as a business owner. The third key mindset tip that I see almost all successful bloggers have in common is to hire a team. Now, when I say hire a team, I don't mean hire full-time employees, get a fancy office and all of that. You're not trying to build a tech company here, which is going to be a unicorn. If that's the case, that's awesome. But more likely than not, if you're here watching this video, you're trying to build a freedom-based business, and you cannot build a freedom-based business if you are doing 600 things in your business. Now, at the beginning, when you have no money coming in, it obviously makes no sense for you to go out and outsource and hire other people. However, once you start to see money come in, I highly recommend investing in hiring a team, whether that is an extra content writer for you, or a social media manager, or a photographer, or a videographer, whatever it is that you can outsource and that doesn't really require your main attention 100% of the time, is something you should think about outsourcing. Now, at the beginning, it'll most likely be a general VA, somebody who can help you with admin or executive assistant type of tasks. When it comes to growing your business, you either pay with time or you pay with money. So you can take longer to grow your business, make more mistakes, and just spend more time figuring out everything, or you can start investing as soon as you start seeing money come in, take a little bit less profit for yourself and invest that back into the business so that you can save your time and grow the business faster in the long run. All right, so that brings us to the end of this video. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and let me know in the comments about your blogging idea or your blog and how your journey is going. And if you want to learn the 3-step framework that helped me turn my hobby blog into a full-time business, then make sure to put your name in the waitlist below for my course, CEO Blogger Academy. I'll see you in the next video.